right now. I just got done running a little bit ago, so
Oh,
I'm literally.
yeah. Nobody ever wears pants on a live. Oh yeah, we're live. Hey y'all. Welcome to our webinar this evening. This is going to be a really quick webinar. We're gonna, me and Sean here are going to go over 4 quick things for y'all. We're going to introduce ourselves, talk about quick background of me, of Sean, really quick, where we're coming from. We're going to talk about the 3 big problems that we feel photographers run into that need to be solved. We're going to talk about some of the ways that we're going to help you solve them. And then finally, we're going to take some questions and answers from y'all. There should be a little group chat somewhere on your screen if you're watching. At any time, if you have questions or comments, just throw them in there. I can see them. I'm not sure if Sean can, but it's okay.
All right.
Yeah, he's cool. He's cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. Sean, you want to talk about who you are, where you're coming from, and just kind of your basic philosophy on photography?
Yeah, so I'm starting this to be my 4th year in business, which is kind of crazy to think about. But I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina. I used to do film stuff before I got into photography, so that's kind of my background. My whole view, so I should preface this with saying, I think I talked about it last time we did our talk too, that I live at the beach. And everybody wants a beach wedding here. So I've shot a million beach weddings. Sure. And nothing wrong with them. It's just not my cup of tea. In the first 2 years, that's pretty much all I did. And I was really unhappy with it. And this last year is when I kind of tried to make the transition from doing beach weddings to, I also, I should say that in that time I did a road trip on the West Coast from Portland to San Francisco. And I was like, this is the spot. This is where I want to be on the West Coast. So all this last year, I've been kind of trying to transition from light and airy beach work to a little more moody West Coast vibes. And yeah, so another month or so I'll be out in Portland area full time.
Awesome.
So I don't know.
Very cool. Very cool.
That's me. I'm a mountain guy in a beach town. So
yeah, and you love your dew.
Never far. Has the vitamins I need.
Yes, the dew. Y'all, my name is Mark Mann. I am a photographer and educator, also from North Carolina on the East Coast.
Represent.
I've been teaching for about 10 years. I have been a professional photographer for about 6 years. I've taught students with disabilities. I've taught at the university level. I've taught high school, middle school. I've taught photographers from all levels as well. So that's kind of my background. I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years, and obviously learned a lot, gained a lot of life experience there. My undergraduate degree is actually special education and a little bit, and then I pursued my master's in fine arts in education and media production. And since then, it's kind of been all photography and film. So that's me, you know. I have been doing photography education for other photographers for several years as well, and been doing mentoring workshops, online courses, and then just kind of helping folks. Love helping people. So we're the dynamic duo this week. and tonight, me and Sean have somewhat matching plaid, so which is lovely.
Good style.
Yeah,
good stuff.
For sure. So y'all, me and Sean were wanting to kind of address the 3 main problems that we feel, or that we've observed over our the lifespan of our photography careers. Talking about number one problem that we're seeing is a lot of new photographers are really interested in the art form. They're out there shooting, out there making great work, but a big issue is that many of us don't understand the business side, how to sell those photos, how to have a brand, how to do social media marketing, how to interact with clients in a professional and formal way, how to communicate in a way that actually draws your audience in. So that's probably the number one and main problem that we're talking about. Sean, what do you have to say about that as well?
I mean, I completely agree, and I can speak from experience. When I started my first year, I had enough money saved up where I was kind of able to float through a little bit, but I had no idea what I was doing, and I was putting out terrible work too. So I mean, I see photographers now, especially in like Looks Like Film and other photography groups. I'm like, how are you making this? I mean, it's insane the amount of talent that's out there. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side of that, I don't know how many of those people are making a living doing it, even though their work is insanely good. I don't know if they have the business aspect to back that up. I mean, those are kind of the legs that it stands on. So yeah, it's a huge problem in the industry. And I just got back from the Southeast Photo Convention, and I think that was probably the most talked about topic just from personal conversations. Most photographers don't have a good business background because we're creatives, and it's just not the way the brain functions.
Sure.
So I think that's probably the biggest issue in the industry, especially with the amount of new photographers coming in.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right there. I mean, there's just so many some things that yeah, we just have this creative juice inside of us that few people have ever had and never had access to. And I'd agree with that. I think that we're just we're needing some
and
to attach.
And I feel like too, when you're 21 and somebody goes, "Yeah, we'll pay you $500 to shoot our wedding," you're like, $500 for one day? Oh shit, that's awesome. But then, if you're actually trying to support yourself, and then you figure out your cost of doing business and what you want to make each year and taxes, that's a whole different ball game. But I was there. I think my first wedding, well, I didn't get paid at all. My first wedding, I think my second or third one, I got like $300, and I was like, "This is awesome!" I got $300 because I would have to work at the restaurant that I waited tables at like a whole week to make that.
Right. Sure.
So.
Yeah, and it's all relative. I agree. The second problem that Sean and I are going to teach on and try to address as best as we can are the techniques, the tips, and the tricks during shoots that we do. So, to the big things that I think is going to stand out for this workshop that we're going to be doing is we're going to have one shoot that Sean's going to do, and then I'm also going to do another shoot. And then after those two things, we'll go over problem I'll talk about in just a second, but those some of those techniques and tips and tricks are I'll be teaching on how to make double exposures on if time permitting, I'll be talking about cinemagraphs, light painting, long exposures, and some of the other kind of strange experimental things that I've done over the past several years and just kind of figured out and stuff. I'll be teaching on how to shoot in live view a lot, because that's one of my things that I really believe in, teaching how to use natural light and such. And Sean, what are kind of some big things that you might be talking about during technique, tip, trick, shoot?
So I think I'm going to bring my strobe and do some strobe work. So hopefully we'll have a nice sunny day, and hopefully people can get an idea of how to balance light, because that's another thing that I think is the problem in the industry. Nobody knows how to use lighting, and not nobody. Obviously, that's super generalized, but it's something that I think a lot of people don't bother to learn, and it can be super valuable if you need to use it. You don't have to. Gabe McClintock was talking about he never uses off-camera lighting, and his work is absolutely incredible. But it's good to have that background. So I'll probably bring the strobe up and do a little model shoot, and hopefully have a nice sunny day, and people can learn how to balance lighting and angles and all that fun stuff. So
great. That sounds awesome. Can't wait for that. So that's problem number 2 that we'll be addressing. Problem number 3 is after the shoot. So me and Sean have very, very different workflows, and we're both going to go over them beginning to end. We'll take our shoots and we'll throw them in to Lightroom. We're going to cull them. We're going to rate them. We're going to talk about the photos that we would choose. I'm going to go through and even talk about how I organize my photos for my blogs, comparatively to the ones that I send my clients, comparatively to the ones that I might shelf to kind of experiment with over time. So I'm also going to talk about how I use alien skin exposure paired with Adobe Lightroom, and how and why I use those things. And some of just the time-saving things, I think, is something that I've developed over many, many years in Lightroom. I've been in Lightroom for this is my 7th year in Lightroom. I've picked up some time-saving tips and tricks that I'm going to pass on and show to y'all during the workshop, and excited about that. What are some highlights of your workflow, Sean, that you might go over?
I mean, mine's pretty basic, man. So depending on whether it's a portrait shoot or a wedding shoot, kind of differs a little bit. But on like if it's a model shoot for an agency, it's shoot, import to Lightroom. I'll rate them, and I'm pretty basic with that. It's like 4 stars if it's keeper, and if it's not, I just don't star it.
Sure.
And then I'll go through, I'll call it again 5 star. And then I'll go through, obviously do the basic tweaks, apply my preset, export, and then I'll take it into Photoshop and do some retouching. If it's a wedding, I don't take it to Photoshop unless I'm, trying to take out some distracting backgrounds or have to swap heads because grandma was looking at birds or something.
Sure.
So it's really not anything. It's not rocket science.
Mm-hmm.
It's basic stuff. So, but it's quick. I was talking to somebody at the convention. I feel like a lot of times photographers procrastinate. So you get a wedding and you could say you shoot it Saturday, you could have it done Monday if you really wanted to.
For sure.
But sit on it. And it's like 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by, and then by the time it's, 6 weeks later. So that's kind of something I touch on too, is just get your ass in gear and do the work rather than sit around and, that's my biggest pet peeve about the industry is people tend to make it seem harder than it has to be.
Sure.
You sit down and you do the work in a timely manner and plan it out. It's not that difficult. So
yeah, and I think that what's going to be interesting about this workshop is because me and you have such different approaches, because I actually love sitting on photos for a long time.
Well, I will say though, I usually hate my photos the day after I shoot them, and if I don't look at them for a week, I go back. I'm like, oh, these aren't bad.
Looks like we lost Sean.
I'm like, these
well,
are yeah. So, but I do sit on them.
For sure. Well, I'm really excited to be able to compare and contrast our approaches there.
Everybody has, like Sam Hurd was at the convention, and his workflow was amazingly simple. And I think it's good for people to see that it's not magic people are doing. We're all doing the same things a little differently, obviously,
right.
But it's pick up little tricks here and there.
Right. And I think an overarching theme that's going to cover those 3 topics that we just went over is just the photographers that come to this workshop, they're going to gain confidence, they're going to gain experience. They're going to come at it with 2 shoots under the belt. They're going to come at it with 2 very, very different views of light, two different views of workflow from folks who've done it for a while. And I think that this before we went live, but just when a new beginning or even intermediate photographer is exposed to somebody else's process, about that kind of frees them from their own ideals or almost mind boxes, and allows them to start to get outside of that.
I feel like creatively, and also just with the workflow aspect, you get in a rut there. You know what I mean? You get a certain pattern of doing things, and sometimes it's hard to break out of that. So seeing the way other people do it, it breaks that away, and you're like, oh, I can do this differently,
for sure,
faster or better.
I agree with that. So if for you folks that are watching out there, I'm curious if y'all have any questions. If you're watching on the YouTube page, I would love for you to throw in the chat over there, just any questions you might have.
Can you see how many people are watching right now?
I can't say on there.
I wanna just guess. It's probably like 75 because we're both super popular.
Right now we only got 3 people in the YouTube page.
All right. 3 people.
You're
nothing bad going on. This is great.
I think we had a few more at one point, but people were
as
soon as they saw your beanie, they peaced out.
You know what though? If you see, can you see? Or is it John Wayne is right there?
Oh yeah, that's good stuff. What questions do you have, Sean? Do you we haven't talked a ton about all the details. What are you interested in?
In what aspect? What do you mean?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm thinking about like your perception of a workshop. Whenever you've attended workshops, what have been kind of the things that you've?
So for me, I'm a cynical person by nature.
Mhm.
So I always go into something with a pessimistic view. So I really, especially with all the workshops popping up, I think business really needs to be a highlight of them all, because so many workshops do, like we were talking about before we went live, how to take the emotional windswept mountaintop portrait, and that's great, and it's good to know how to do that, but you've got to have the fundamentals to be able to keep doing that.
Sure.
You there?
Yeah, I think what's really interesting about both of our backgrounds is, I come from an education background where I never had to make money. So I come from a place where I was an artist coming in as a photographer, and I was teaching other people how to be artists, and that was it. Bottom line, and I didn't have to make money initially until I started my own business, and so I kind of had to learn those lessons that you were able to kind of experiment with and kind of fine tune. I had to learn those lessons a little bit slower, or didn't have to learn them. Was able to experiment with them a little more and kind of tweak them according to me and my personality and what I need.
And I feel like my first years in business, I learned a lot of really good lessons because, like I said before, I'm a mountain guy. I love the mountains. I love nature, and I'm at a beach town. So I was shooting a lot of work that I just didn't want to shoot, but I had to pay the bills. It's like, all right, it's 1,000 degrees out. We've got yellow roses and teal dresses. Let's do this.
For sure.
It's one of those things I've kind of learned the hard way. I'm glad it's happened, but I'm happy to impart some of those little tidbits of knowledge to other people so they don't have to do it.
Me too. I think, another problem is stress, anxiety. People are just really stressed out there. They want to know, and they want somebody to just be like, "Hey, you're going to be okay. You can do this. Get out there, do some stuff."
Starting your own business is no joke, man. I know it's great to be able to take photos, but it's stressful. I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were talking about, I love the freedom aspect of it, but yeah, at times it's like, shit, this is scary because you're on your own. But it kind of goes to what I want to talk about at the workshop too, about building community. And I think that's massively important about having a support network, and not just photographers, but just good people around you.
For sure.
So
for sure,
you're not just, if you are stressed and anxious, you have those people to lean on.
Right.
Because a lot of those photographers are in the same exact position as you.
It's true. It's really true. Every time that I have a gathering like this, whether it's my photo field trips, whether it's my workshops, or if I'm doing one-on-one mentoring, it's the same thing. Yeah, that I hear the same problems over and over again that we're talking about, and I think that's why we're going to focus on this stuff so hard. So let me check Instagram really quick over here. See if there's any questions.
There's nobody trolling us today. This is surprising.
I love it. So, well, with that though, so we're ending the webinar. I just want this to be a really quick thing. If you are watching out there on Instagram or on the YouTube page and have questions for me and Sean, feel free to ask us. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. But as I promised in my post, I am giving you a $100 off promo code if you watched this long. And all you have to do is click on the link, the workshop. If you're watching the YouTube video, there should be a little card up here that you can click, and that should take you straight to the workshop registration area. But if you put in promo code webinar, that's WEBINAR, webinar, then you'll actually get $100 off at registration. So again, that promo code is webinar, WEBINAR.
And if you do that, I'll also bring you a 2-liter of Diet Mountain Dew. So throw that out there.
So there you go. If you put in that promo code webinar WEBINAR at registration, Sean is also going to bring you a 2-liter of Diet Dew. So be prepped for that. It's going to be lovely. For you guys on Instagram, I've left a link to this video as well, so you can actually get to the registration link from there. But again, put in that code webinar, and you'll get $100 off. So I really am excited about this. Excited to teach with Sean and network and connect with y'all. So this promo code is going to expire tomorrow night at midnight. So make sure you do it in between now and tomorrow night. Don't wait past the weekend because it's going to end then. Because I really just wanted it to be for folks who watch this webinar on Instagram or on the YouTube. So make sure that you think about it first. If you dig us, then you think we're going to jive together, then go for it. Otherwise, we're still willing to help. So we love y'all so much. Thank you for watching. Thanks for interacting with us. And we hope to see you on Wednesday here in Durham, North Carolina for the first 2017 workshop with me and Sean Carr. Love y'all so much. Have a great evening, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Adios. Bye.